Welcome everybody to a special episode of Billionair podcast, and today we've got a special guest, Yehuda, and thank you for coming on in such quick time as well, because we're going to be talking about something that's very relevant that's just happened in the last 24 hours, which is the Israeli-Iran conflict. And I think you're the perfect person to speak about this from the Israeli side, because you do have a lot of experience as an Israeli, as a Jew, and also as an IDF paratrooper.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you so very much, Billy, to invite me. It is very special times right now, and this is the perfect moment actually to try and highlight some things and bring some truth, maybe.
That's perfect. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I'm just looking for a side from Israel, because I feel like they're copping a lot of flack at the moment, and the world's hating on them a lot. And I feel like it's I'm in the middle. I see, I've got Palestinian friends, I've got Israeli friends. I just want everyone to get along and be happy.
Yeah.
So,
but I think what you do will help, because getting along is communicating, talking about it, and bringing to the surface maybe the truth that the mainstream media doesn't want to do, because they've got their own agenda and narrative. So we will try and see if we can try and get over that.
Beautiful. I appreciate that. Let's go back to the military background. So the paratrooper days.
Yeah.
Mate, you were an IDF paratrooper. That's pretty intense, yeah? Can you take us back and share what it was like jumping out of planes and being a part of an elite group?
We don't think about it that way so much because we're 18, we're kids.
Yeah.
We're literally kids. And it's not something that we choose to do.
Yep.
So it's a part of our path. As, we grew up in Israel, we were told that that's what we need to do. We're the only one, in the words of what's his name, Mari, the English writer.
Yeah.
He said, nobody's coming for the Jews. Only the Jews are going to be there for the Jews. So, and he was so right. And we knew we need to have a very strong army, so we were very proud of it. And it's existential for us. It's not like, I'm going to the army, it will be fun. Oh, I don't want to go to the army because I hate it, or no choice.
It was a part of, it's like a rite of passage.
Absolutely.
In a way.
Yeah.
A lot of countries do that. They have, mandatory military service.
Greeks, I think the Greeks do it.
Greeks
2
have
years,
it.
correct.
Italians have it. Quite a few. Well, obviously after World War II, it makes sense for the Israelis to have an army, considering what they went through.
Don't mean disrespect to the Greeks and the Italians army, but look at our enemy. I don't mean disrespect, but look at the amount of the enemy. For us, it's literally existential. We have to do it or we die. Simple.
Well, Greece, the army's not too strong. I don't think they're more like have a coffee, sit by the beach, go fishing, have a good life and enjoy it.
It would be strong if they had wars, because it forces you to actually innovate. Like, look at the Israeli army. They've got the Iron Dome. We spend so much money and effort, and we use our mind, because that's all we've got, to create. And it's a defense army. It's not. We don't attack, and we'll talk about it, because I know a lot of people disagreeing with me about it. But we defend.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, we'll definitely be touching on the Iron Dome, and we're definitely talking about preemptive strikes. That's for sure. Life lessons of the army, though. Looking back, what did your time in uniform teach you about life? What valuable lessons did you learn and bring with you to civilian life?
I'm going to split the two.
Okay.
One of them is the army. The other one is the war. Two different things. I know that they depend on each other, because we don't need an army if we don't have a war. But I can tell you one thing: as an 18-year-old child, being in the army straight after being in school, being in high school, going straight. You have to, boys and girls. You go straight.
Yep.
Both male and female. If I had to do it again without the wars, I'll do it again and again, and I will recommend it to anybody. I look at, and I don't mean disrespect, but I look at young children, the generation that we have today, and even generation before us that never went to the army. It's a different breed of human. Camaraderie. There's a sense that you're equal to everybody else, and you earn what you take, and you learn absolutely amazing skills that you wouldn't know. Not just how to use a weapon or how to survive. That as well, it's fantastic. Also, you exercise a lot, and you eat well. But there is a sense of equality, not in the form of communism style. It's true human equality. And the most important thing Everybody's dependent on everybody. And we know,
You're as strong as your weakest link.
absolutely. In one of the commands that a commander in Israel says, it in Hebrew, it's called pazatzta, which is short to fall, roll, aim, something along this line. You can Google it if you want.
Yep.
And what it means, you listen to what I tell you and you trust me 100% because I get the information now and I know what's coming. You need to trust me. There's no egos. There's no, drop on the ground because you're nothing or because I don't care about you. No, it's because I really care about you. So that sense of true love that you get and care that nothing will happen to you. We grieve every soldier. It's like we lost an arm when it happened. The love is unparalleled to any place I've ever experienced in my life. So that sense, and it gives you confidence. You know, because being in the army, you think, what else can be worse than that? You know, like it gives you a lot of confidence. And
so it helps you with like the later part of your life as well.
Yeah, and I
think you up.
I think the thing I loved most about the army, it dissolves the ego. Some people maybe later on redevelop it or reintroduce it to themselves.
Yep.
But on the overall, it dissolves your ego, and I think ego is one of the most weakest part of humanity.
Definitely.
And I think that's one of the number one skills that I really appreciate by learning in the army. Now, the war bit, which is, you know, the yang of the army, that's the bit that you always in your mind know that's why we need the army and that's why I'm here. So it's a blessing in disguise.
Yep.
But the war, unfortunately for me, I was 18, 1981. The war started. One of the worst wars in Israel. It was the first Lebanon war. Yeah. And we needed to go and fight. Then again, the Palestinians. A lot of people think we went...
Is that the PLO?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the thing. A lot of people think we went to fight the Lebanese, but we didn't. We actually went to fight the Palestinians, the PLO. They were shooting at the northern borders through using Lebanon for that. The Lebanese government kind of allowed it. And they also suffered because of the Palestinians there. They suffered a lot.
Is that they had a civil war after all this?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
And they blamed Israel for that. It lasted for 17 years. It was supposed to be like 2 weeks. It was supposed to be like just in and out, just finish them. But we didn't know what we were going to tackle. We didn't have them days, we didn't have the technology that we have today. I was a communication paratrooper. You wouldn't believe how we used to communicate them days in comparison to what we've got today. It's unbelievable. Like I can get into it, but it's so different.
Primitive.
Absolutely. So it was sad. It was very sad to see what happened to this beautiful country, Lebanon. Was one of the most beautiful country I've ever been in.
They used to call it the
Paris of the Middle East.
That's correct.
Yeah, because it was a French because it was a French the French colonized it.
Yep.
For many it was there you go. You know, the French colonized it. The English colonized Israel and Jordan.
English colonized Australia.
People don't know that, and Israel is the colonizer, so it doesn't make any sense to me. So a lot of the structures and the way that it was built, and it's the terrains are beautiful.
They used to say that you could go skiing in the morning and then come down
Correct.
and go for a swim at the beach.
And a lot of people don't know you can do the same in Israel. If you go up to the north of Israel, even today, there is a mountain called Mount Hermon in the Galil Heights.
Yep.
It's a beautiful mountain, and we have a ski resort. And at the same day, you can drive for 4 or 5 hours all the way down to Eilat, which is the most southern town in city in Israel. It's called Eilat. It's actually in the Red Sea. It's touching the bottom there in the Dead Sea, and it's really warm. It's beautiful. We've got reefs, and you can. So yeah, we have the same. But Lebanon, I love Israel, but when it comes to striking beauty,
Lebanon wins.
Stunning, absolutely, yes. And the women and the people that are beautiful looking too.
Yeah, they're not bad.
They are, yeah.
So reflecting on your service, how do you feel about that period in your life? Do you strongly identify with being an IDF soldier? Has your perspective changed over time?
Well, my name is Yehuda. So Yehuda is also Yehuda a Maccabee, the Maccabean. He was a warrior as well. I don't identify in any. I don't identify. I identify myself as someone who fights for his people, as a warrior, someone who fought for his people. It doesn't matter what you call it. I think it can be very deceiving, specifically these days. If you're going to call me IDF, there's so much hatred toward us right now. There are countries that a lot of IDF countries will be arrested. Soldiers will be arrested if they're walking, like Canada. They will arrest IDF as for war crimes, and those people did nothing wrong, really. So I identify as, I believe I'm righteous warrior. That when I was in Lebanon, we saw the sadness of people. We didn't care who they are. That was the reason why I decided to leave my country, Israel, that war. Because while I was there, it was so cruel, it was so horrendous that I realized that the saddest thing about wars is that people getting used to it. There's nothing more sad than that. Not the explosions of the children. That's horrific. But the sad. When you're horrified by something, you can either become angry, frustrated. It evokes these emotions in you. Yeah, when you see all these children in Gaza being blown and everything, and vice versa, what happened in October 7, it makes you angry or fearful. But when you see that people get used to it, it becomes sad, very sad.
That's scary.
It's sad. It's absolutely sad. And I thought, I don't want to get used to that. This is not something I ever want to get used to. And I literally, them days, so your audience will know I'm very old. We didn't have computers them days, so we had Atlas. If you wanted to know where you were in the world, yeah. I'm 61. So we didn't have computers or phones, so I needed to measure on the map where was the most distant place I can go away from this place. And with sadness, because I love my country. And it fell on Tasmania, and I thought, maybe
Bit cold.
maybe not that far. So I just, Melbourne. So I came to Melbourne and, of course, fell in love with it. And I've been there since 1987, shortly after the war.
I would like to talk to you about the Israel-Iran conflict. It's just started to kick off. I think all eyes are on Israel and Iran right now. Maybe a little bit of eyes are on Ukraine and Russia still, because there's stuff happening there.
Yeah.
But I'd like to talk about the recent developments with Israel and Iran. So the things have escalated massively, right? Israel doing the airstrikes on, I think it's 100 targeted airstrikes inside Iran. They had 200 planes. This is a fully coordinated preemptive strike on their nuclear facilities, on their nuclear enrichment program. What was your first reaction when you heard this?
I wasn't surprised at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. It was just a matter of time. It was building up. Everybody knew, and Netanyahu was speaking about it for years now.
Yeah.
That was his goal. And it's been building up for, I think the whole negotiation bit, my personal opinion, of course, was just a facade. It was just like, basically, we know the Iranian won't agree. We'll just show the world that we tried, both American and Israel. We'll just show the world that we tried. We know it's not going to work, and then we're just going to go ahead. The reason I know that is because it's just been revealed that the Mossad actually planned it now for maybe years. I don't know if you know, but it's there. It's available for everybody to see.
Yep.
They've been actually in Iran now for a few years, and that's very interesting. And they literally build a factory in Iran that makes drones made in Iran.
Is this like suicide drones?
No, you can actually, if you go to there is a lot about it. They're drones, they're very sophisticated. I don't know much about them. Yep. They're very sophisticated. And everything was developed in Iran, by Israeli Mossad. The whole operation was set up, ready to go years ago.
Oh, wait. So the Mossad had warehouses and bases in Iran.
A factory.
Factories.
Absolutely.
In Iran.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's hectic.
More and more is going to be revealed.
Okay.
I think it's going to blow the mind of people who follow wars and how they deal. This is going to be, the
spies and stuff like.
It's more than that. You know the beepers thing.
Yeah,
beep beep boom.
Was that with Hezbollah?
Yeah. Okay. This is way more. This is way more. You wait. They're not releasing much information right now, but when it's going to come up, everybody's going to go, "What the fuck? How'd they do that?"
So the Mossad is
They've been there, but there's something even more interesting.
Yeah.
As good as the Mossad is, and they're very good, what they managed to achieve could have never been achieved without the Iranian people, which is very interesting because our fight is not with the Iranian people. In fact, the Iranian people and the Jewish people love each other. We're going back biblical.
Okay.
If you go as far as you go, when there were Persia, there's always been amazing link between. There was a massive Jewish community in Iran until the Ayatollah took off, and then for a long time wouldn't let them go.
When did that happen? In the 70s?
Yeah, I think so. They took over, and a lot of Jews then left.
A lot of Iranians left.
A lot
as
of
well.
and there was a
Christians.
There was a big community, Iranian community.
Yep.
Jewish community in Iran, massive, and they all left. There's not one Jewish person there in Iran right now. They're all left.
They would have been killed if they stayed.
Absolutely, yeah. That's the reason why they left. They left in time, and but the Iranian people all around the world are just cheering Israel right now. And Netanyahu actually hinted to them, "This is your chance. This is your chance right now."
These are the liberal.
This
liberal
is the people.
Iranians?
This is the people of Iran.
Okay.
These are the people of Iran. They love the Jews. They love the Israelis, and I can tell you, for everything that I know about the Israeli army and the Mossad, and I know a little bit, but not too much, I can tell you this kind of operation would have never been a success like it is now without the actual Iranian people on the ground working together with the Mossad.
That's interesting.
It is, and you're going to find a lot.
That's hectic. I didn't even know that.
There's a lot coming up. It's really
Wow.
interesting, yeah.
Wow.
Really interesting.
Why now? Why now do you reckon Israel did the strike? If they were planning it for years, that means that they would have had a good idea of what's going on.
Yeah.
Why did they execute that attack in the last 48 hours?
Very good question. It's not the 48 hours. It's been known that it's going to happen a while back since the elections, the American election.
No, but actually, taking out the attack and doing the preemptive strikes and doing all of that, it just happened yesterday.
Yeah. I can't give you a precise answer to this because I'm not there and I'm not in the army anymore, so I don't know. Yeah. There is a rumor. There is a rumor that it's got to do with the faith, the Judaism faith. I've heard something about it. Friday the 13th.
Okay.
So Friday the 13th, and I think it's got to do numerologically to do with some prayers. Some. I can find out for you, but
Friday the 13th.
it was Friday the 13th, but it's not so much in regard to Friday the 13th. I think in Israel there are 13 specific prayers that you have to do. There is some, because believe it or not, we consult our rabbis. The army, the Israeli army, consult our rabbis. The rabbis, there are a connection to God. There are links. There are channels to God, and we do consult with them. What will be a good time to do whatever we need to do, and they give us our blessing. They might say, no, it's not a good time, but according to the Torah and what we can see right now, numerology, they do. They do that. So I think it's got to do with that. It's been slowly, because it just happened.
Yep.
So more and more information is being revealed, but I think that's got to do something with it. But if you're asking why now, not as in why in the last 48 hours, because prior to that, the American government before
they
Trump,
actually warned last week or just this week leading up, Trump warned Bibi Netanyahu, in case people don't know who he is, to not strike Iran or anything like that.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was to let Iran's guard down.
Yes.
I think that was like a play.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was a play.
that was smart. It was a smart move if you think about it geopolitically, strategically, warlike. Obviously, America is always backing Israel, and they're very close.
Not always. The government before didn't back us up. So basically, and that's why now it was easier.
So
we couldn't.
Joe Biden did.
We couldn't have done it with Joe. If Joe Biden was in, Israel would have never been able to do that. They needed the green light from America, and the only person to give them the green light right now is the American government right now,
Trump,
led by Trump. Yes.
Is it generally Republicans are more pro-Israel?
I don't think it's Republican.
Is it the people that are just in at that time?
It's the people that in at that time, because I don't know if you know, most of the government at the moment is actually not Republican. A lot of the people who actually joined Trump, we won't get into American politics, but a lot of them are actually Democratic. The Democrats, they're actually started realizing what the Democrats are really doing. They moved later on to Trump, but a lot of them originally Democrats.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I did notice that. Things like people like Tulsi Gabbard, you know.
No, but also his right hand. What's his name? The
JD Vance.
Yeah.
He was a Democrat. Yeah.
Yeah.
He hated Trump just a while
Exactly.
ago.
Yes.
Videos of him condemning him.
Yep.
So yeah,
So
it's interesting.
it's called waking up.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's you have to adjust, you know, because I remember during the Iraq War, everyone was anti-neocon, and
Yes.
the neocons were essentially the Republicans.
Yes.
But then as time went on, as soon as Obama won, Obama was doing a lot of wars. So the neocons essentially jumped to...
Don't start me with Obama.
Yeah, we don't have to go to Obama.
Don't go with
Let's
Obama.
go. Okay. So...
Because you will open a Pandora box that seriously...
Yeah, let's not go to Obama. I don't need birth certificate. Let's just end it at that.
Not only that, like Hussein.
Oh, yeah, that's his middle name.
Hussein
Yeah,
Obama,
Hussein in the
yeah,
membrane.
yeah.
Okay, so regional ripple effects. Iran's vowing revenge now, right? How seriously do you take their threats?
I don't.
And do you reckon this can escalate further?
I don't.
What are your thoughts?
I think the media would like to portray it that way because it kind of, for two reasons. Depends what side of the aisle you are. If you're pro-Israel, you will say, oh, it's going to escalate. Because you're pro-Israel, to justify what Israel is doing, you know. But if you're against Israel, you will say it's going to escalate because look what Israel is doing, World War III starting, blah, blah. So everybody's going to say it's going to escalate.
Yep.
What we're finding right now, that there was a lot of wind and a lot of what the Iranians are saying is bullshit. We're finding out now. And also, a lot of the Arab countries are happy that Israel is doing. In fact, Jordania helped us. They allowed us to go over their skies.
Okay.
The Jordans, also the EU, they supported us. They want peace in the Middle East. They've had enough. Most of the Arab, the Lebanese.
Well, they're getting especially like all the EU countries, they're getting overrun with
they're over it.
Islam.
They're over it.
Yeah, I think they're starting to really get over it.
They're over it, and unfortunately, they're using the Palestinians for that. They're using those countries like Iran and Yemen and Qatar. Don't think Qatar is an angel. Qatar is, I don't trust them at all as far as I can spit. The Qataris are very dangerous. They've got a lot of money.
Yep.
And
That's oil money?
That's oil money.
Yeah,
a lot of money, yeah. They're very, very, they're snakes. They're deceiving. They're very, I don't know if you know, but in Islam there is something called taqiyya. What's it called? I can ask Moses. You can tell me. There is something in Islam called taqiyya. I think it's called.
Yep.
Someone can correct me if they want. Basically, the Quran allows them to deceive and lie if necessary.
I think I've heard about this.
Yeah. So the essence of it, if you look at it in the country, that will be Qatar. Qatar is the taqiyya right now of the Arab world. They pretend that they're like, oh yeah, no, we but I don't trust them. I don't trust any of them right now. That's why I was surprised when Trump did the plane thing. But I think that was also, I hope it was just another way to, because Trump is all about negotiation. So
interesting.
So yeah, I don't think it's going to escalate much. I think just like the 1967 war in Israel, I was very young then. It's literally shaped the Middle East, that war. It shaped it. After that war, the whole Middle East was shaped, literally maps and all.
Wow.
The whole Middle East. I don't know if you know, but what we've got now, we call it the 67 borders. That's the name of the borders we've got now. They're called the 67 border. We were attacked by all the countries around us. They all attacked us at the same time. Same thing happened in 1973.
All right, so let's just look on the map here.
Sure.
So let's just look on the map. 67 borders. We're still on the screen. We're just in the little box on the corner. But everyone can see the screen. Yeah. So there's Israel right there.
We're going to go through history a little bit, but not get into it too much. But basically what happened in 1967, there was a massive war. Israel was, we called it the 6 Days War.
The 6 Days War.
A lot of people know it as it lasted 6 days.
Okay.
And we all know it as the 6 Day War. And what happened is Egypt, Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, and a few other Arab
So
countries
every single border
attacked Israel at the same
at the
time.
same time. So
Same
it was an organized
Correct.
strike.
Yeah, it was
Yep.
organized. We were
Okay.
attacked. We didn't start any of this. In fact, we never started any war. Some people might say, "Oh yeah, but you just started the Iran war." I don't think we did. I'll explain later if anybody wants to know what I mean by that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, but we were all attacked, and when that happened, what we see today is the West Bank was a part of Jordan. That was a part of Jordan.
Okay.
And what we see today is the Gaza Strip. It was a part of Egypt, and we were attacked by Egypt and Jordan. So when that happened, and the Sinai Peninsula, the whole Sinai Peninsula was a part of Egypt. We in 6 days we managed to conquer all those places. We defeated the enemies, and we were a very small army, not what we've got today.
How did you manage to do that?
We have no choice. We're either dead or we die. Like Golda Meir said, we only got one weapon. We have nowhere to go. That's the weapon we've got. Nowhere to go. So we do it or we die. So we manage.
Yep.
And I always say one thing. God gave us three things, the Jews.
Yep.
It gave us the Torah. It gave us Israel. And it gave us a brain. So thank God.
Brain's important.
The most important.
Yep.
Yeah, and faith. So we used all of that.
Yep.
To win the war of 1967. A lot of people say, hey, the American help you, the American help you. Okay, that's fine.
I was thinking about that. I'm like, did America help you?
America did help. I think at the time, if I'm not confusing, it was Nixon. And Golda Meir. Golda Meir was then negotiating with him. And sorry. I don't want to give wrong information. I need to verify it first. I'm not sure if it was could be Nixon. I don't know. Doesn't matter. The point is, we were attacked from all these Arab countries around us, and we won the war. When we won the war,
You didn't have an Iron Dome back then.
no,
There was no such
no.
thing
We had
as an Iron
Uzis. We had
Dome.
Uzis and few tanks and
A couple of M16s.
yeah,
and
that's it. Most of the people, and a lot of people were broken because it was.
So when they striked you, were they launching missiles?
At them days, it was a lot of foot soldiers as well, and missiles and everything. So it was like a primitive war in comparison to what we've got today. Intelligence were very poor, but we were literally attacked by all these countries.
You got nowhere to go. They
ocean.
just gave you guys this land.
Yeah, literally. And it was only 20 years old, I think, after the Israel was in 1948. It was established, so it's only a few years old.
Yep.
And most of the people are broken from the Holocaust, and most of the people are still learning to know, because we came from so many countries. We came from different countries around the world. We spoke different languages.
Yeah.
My generation is the first to speak Hebrew.
So you kind of got Hebrew back after you started like building Israel. You started to speak Hebrew again.
It was funny because the nation was supposed to decide what language should we speak. We didn't know because Hebrew was ancient. It's 2,000 years old. It hasn't been spoken for 2,000 years. It was in books and things, and we just read it as prayers, but nobody knew what it meant. It wasn't a language yet. It was before the 2,000 years. It was revived. My generation is the first to speak Hebrew after 2,000 years.
That's pretty cool for your people to
It's
be able to go
fantastic.
through that.
It's the only people in the world that revived the language ever.
Impressive. Normally all the languages are going out the window and everyone's just speaking English.
So we were told, which language are we going to talk? Of course, Jews came from different places. So Jews developed their own languages, depending where they were. For example, the Jews of Spain and these areas developed a language called Latino. The Jews from Germany and Europe developed a language called Yiddish, which is a combination of old biblical Hebrew and then there was a lot of people who were in France. So we were saying, which language? Should it be English? Should it be French? Should it be Latino? Should it be? And there was a debate, and then everybody said, no, we're going back to the origin. We're going
biblical.
Biblical.
Wow.
We're going to go all biblical. We're going to speak Hebrew, and we're going to teach our children to speak Hebrew.
Yep.
And I used to walk in the streets of Israel. There wasn't much of a streets, but we used to have little milk bags, and every person would speak a different language or will have a different dialect.
Yep.
We had to communicate with them. And with our parents, same. They spoke different languages. My mom is from Yemen. My father is from Tunisia. They spoke different languages. And they had different accents.
Yep.
So it was interesting for a child to grow in a place like that, but it was fascinating at the same time. But anyway, we were attacked. And when we were attacked, we conquered Gaza from Egypt and the peninsula, and the Sinai Peninsula, and we also conquered what what we see today.
So in an attack, you guys actually got more land somehow.
Correct.
That's interesting.
And the Galilee Heights.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
That we took that as well.
Okay.
So the interesting thing about it, and that's very, very fundamental for people to understand. In a war, and you can find the resolution in the UN, when you're attacked in a war, every war in the world, ever in the history, when you're attacked and you conquer a land, it's yours. That's the law. That's the resolution. That's the UN resolution. It's yours. Yep. Belongs to you. Mexico, Texas, America. Texas used to be Mexico.
No, I didn't.
Well, there you go. And
Wow.
the American conquered it, and now it's theirs. It used to be Mexico. And California used to be Mexico.
I think they got it from the Comanches because they were fighting with the Comanches.
No, the Mexican-
American Indians?
No.
Oh, Mexicans.
It was Mexico.
Wow.
Texas was Mexico. Literal Mexico. The country Mexico.
Got taken.
And now it's Texas. It's America. But it's good for the American wise and good for the Jews. But we'll get to that.
Okay.
So we conquered the peninsula, the Sinai Peninsula. There is famous pictures that showing all the Egyptian went back to Egypt and they left all their shoes and everything. There was you can find black and white pictures of the shoes and the tanks being bombed, and we lost a lot of people as well. But anyway, that's a different story. There's a lot of details, but I'll try and make it as short as possible. Anyway, we conquered Gaza, the peninsula, the Galilee Heights,
Yep.
and what you see today is the West Bank. They call it the West Bank because it was the West Bank of the Jordan River, and that's why they call it the West Bank. And that is what today is considered to be Palestine. That's Gaza? Yes, that's the Gaza Strip.
Where's the West Bank?
So the West Bank, now you have to go all the way to the other side. If you flick, a bit more. So if you stop here somewhere, you will see it's where if you go down. I think you have to go.
Jerusalem.
Yeah, if you go borders again, you'll see it better.
Oh, okay.
It's easier to see. There you go. So go further. Go further away with the map. It's very clear. So you need to zoom out. Yeah. So you see these little lines, like cut, like little lines.
This bit?
Yes. Exactly.
So is this the West Bank?
That's the West Bank. Hebron
is
Ramallah,
the West Bank.
Correct. Yeah.
So this is Gaza
That's
here.
Gaza, correct.
Right, and then the West Bank's here.
Correct.
So they're two separated parts. And then this is Israel.
Correct.
How do the Palestinians...
They don't.
They don't.
That's a very important question because they used to.
When?
Before 2005, before we gave Gaza to the Palestinians, before Israel left Palestine, before Israel left Gaza and gave it to the Palestinians.
Okay.
So, but we'll get into that. But my point is this: we conquered those pieces. So the West Bank was Jordan. We conquered it. Do you know that Jordan is Palestine? You're aware of that?
I do like there's Zatar. It's very close to the Palestinian Zatar.
But do you know that they were Palestine before the English mandate? When it was the English mandate, if you will go to the map of the English mandate and go Syria, Palestina, you will see that Jordan was Palestine, just like Israel was Palestine. They're all Palestine. In fact, Jordan was supposed to be part of Israel, but then they changed their mind and they gave it to the Hashemite king to create Jordan. That's why they're a kingdom. Yeah.
Okay.
But they're Palestine. They're actually Palestine. So why aren't the Palestine asking free Palestine from... How come they're not
Jordan?
free? Yeah, free Palestine from Jordan.
Maybe it's because they see you guys as like because all I know is that majority of Arabic people seem to very much dislike the Jews.
Bingo.
JD Vance just recently said something in regards to Israel and the topic of genocide.
Sure.
This was on a podcast, Theo Von, pretty popular.
Sure. Yeah, I know.
I listen to him all the time, and this is what they've said.
No, but it's like you can't. I don't understand how it becomes like tough for people. Like sometimes it feels like we look out for the interests of Israel before we look out for the interests of America.
So let me say a couple things. So number one, like I think you're a great dude, so we don't always have to agree on everything. Do I think do I think it's a genocide? No. And here's the reason why I don't think it's a genocide, because I don't think that the Israelis are purposely trying to go in and murder every Palestinian. I don't think that's what they're doing. I think they got hit hard, and I think they're trying to, like, you know, sort of destroy this terrorist organization. And war is hell, and that is true. I also think it's true, man. I mean, I've seen people on my side of the political aisle. I'm a Republican, you know that, but your audience may not, who like will see these videos of these innocent Palestinian kids and say, "Oh, well, they had it coming to them." No. Like, if you have a soul, your heart should break when you see a little kid who's suffering. Which is why we have the policy that we have, which is we're trying to eliminate the conflict, eliminate the source of the conflict, so that we can actually bring some peace and some humanitarian assistance into people. And that's my basic view. And the president's interesting. He's a pro-Israel guy.
Yeah.
And he also recognizes that to bring any conflict to a close, you've got to talk to everybody. Yeah. And so, we've been attacked. I've been attacked. The president's been attacked for being too interested in diplomacy. And you ask, like, what can I do? I think that what people should demand is that if our tax dollars are going to something, we should be actively trying to fix it. Whether it's in Israel or Russia, Ukraine, like, we're actually trying to bring this stuff to some settlement and to some close. And if we do, we're going to save a lot of lives. And if we don't, it was worth the try.
What do you reckon?
So let's find out why it happens first, and then we can find out how we can stop it. So where are these children when they are bombed? Where are they?
They're in the buildings.
Okay, what are they doing in these buildings?
I'm not sure. Are you saying that they're like maybe kept hostage, or they put there on purpose, or
they are what we called in the army? I forgot the word in English for it now. They use as a shield.
Okay.
By the Hamas, because the Hamas knows how it feels to you and me.
When you see a child on TV, or
they know how it feels. They know what it does to us.
rubble.
They know what it does to me as Israeli, as a Jew, as a human being. Forget about all the rest of the title. They know what it does to a good human being when they see a child being blown up. They know the horror. They know. And they go, that's our weapon. That's the only weapon we've got to get the world's opinion to be on our side. And that's the only weapon. And they're winning this war. So if I was the Hamas and I care about my people, I wouldn't put my tunnels underneath hospitals. That automatically, according to the UN, if you put your tunnels and you're shooting the enemy from a hospital, you're actually a criminal or a war criminal, according to the UN. And that's what they're doing. So, and we've got a lot of evidence of that. Now, I hate the fact that those children are dying.
So you're saying that they're using the children as cannon fodder?
Absolutely, yes.
The children are born into a situation where they will die for Hamas because they think it's the right thing to do, because that's how much hatred they have for Israel?
Yes. And the mothers of those children will say, we'll bring more to the world for that purpose. They will literally say it. I've got millions of footages of them saying it, thousands of footages of them saying it, that nobody will show you. The mothers are saying, yes, my child have died. In fact, Hania himself, when he heard that his 3 sons died, it was all over the news. You can see him. He goes, well, there you go. You know, there is a name for it. They've got an Arab name for it. They become a martyr. They go and meet their 72 virgins in the sky. So it's a part of their religion. They're a cult of death. They celebrate death. They say it. They celebrate death. It doesn't matter what age the death is happening. So when you deal with someone who celebrates death, how do you win? Someone who celebrates death. How can you fight someone who celebrates death? But when that culture of death that doesn't care about their own children to die wants to kill my children, I will do everything it takes. And you know, Golda Meir once said something amazing. And I think that will be probably the main message I would like to pass to everybody, that they will know who the Jewish people are. Golda Meir said this: when the Arab nation will start loving their children as much as they hate the Jews, peace will come to the world.
Do you see that? Do you feel like that's the only option that they have? That's why they're doing what they they do, because in terms of October 7th, I don't know if that was a complete disaster from Israeli intelligence, or a lot of people are saying that was just a false flag attack.
Does it matter? It happened. Does it matter?
It's a horrific accident. It's a horrific situation.
Does it matter? Does it matter if it was done on purpose by the Israelis? Okay, that's bad. Does it matter if it's done on purpose or
It happened.
not? It happened.
It happened.
Does it really matter? It happened. 9/11 happened because of this. It happened. People died. Does it matter right now? It happened, and it was horrendous. It was horrific. I've got footage after footage because I was there. I've got videos of me there.
You were in Israel when it happened?
I've been there a few days later because I flew. I went to all the kibbutzim and I filmed it. I've got him here. Yeah? Filmed him. So like Douglas Murray, when he said to David, what's his name, on the podcast with Joe Rogan, he said,
Dave
were
Smith.
you there? And everybody
yeah.
made a big deal out of it.
Yeah, I remember.
So I was there. I was there. Okay, so I've seen.
Yep.
So I know how real it is. Yeah. So it doesn't matter if it was the Israel. It doesn't matter.
So they flew with their little paraglider things, and they did a little breach of the wall.
Yes.
And how many people died?
12,000 died, slaughtered, raped,
12,
beheaded.
Was it 12,000?
1,000. Sorry, 1,200. Correct.
1,200.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, sorry.
And then
Children?
they took hostages.
Correct.
They took hostages.
Over 200 hostages. Yes.
What did they think was going to happen after they took the hostages?
That's a good question. They knew that this is going to happen, and they were ready. They knew that this is going to happen. They knew the Israelis going to attack. They knew. They did it because they knew the Israeli going to attack. And they knew it's going to look really bad because Gaza is such a condensed place and there's so many citizens. They knew that this is going to happen. And that's exactly what they wanted to happen. And that's why they are winning the world opinion. They're winning.
Do you feel like a lot of people completely forgot that October the 7th happened?
Yeah, they have.
Do you feel like during, even though there was a complete and utter
they did.
despicable act,
Absolutely.
that the world at that point just brushed it off?
What do you mean that point? It literally a day after they brushed it off. There is a movie called October 8th. The day after, they're already in the street. They had plaques ready. Free Palestine. How did that happen? We'll talk about it another time if you like, because George Soros and everything behind it. But that's a different story.
George Soros.
They were ready. They knew it's going to happen. They were ready. They were ready for it. They knew, and they were preparing for it. They thought about it for a long time. They knew. And of course, October 7 will be forgotten and probably will be denied, just like the Holocaust.
And who funded October the 7th?
Iran, Qatar,
Yep.
mainly Qatar. Yeah, and Iran together, their proxy, they work, and they used all their proxies. They used Yemen and they used Hezbollah in the north.
Yep.
They're all ready.
So since then, we're talking now. Is Hezbollah pretty much just destroyed now?
Yeah.
They're done?
Yeah.
Okay, what about the Hamas? How's Hamas doing?
So Hamas is not, unlike, well, Hezbollah is a part of it, but Hamas is not so much a group of people. It's theology.
Okay, that's what it's become.
So you kill some, and
But they
then
keep coming back.
they'll keep coming back.
What about the Houthis? What's happening with the Houthis? They're more primitive, right?
They're very primitive.
They're more primitive.
The Houthis, like, do you know how many? Okay, I'll ask you this: do you know how many children are starving right now in Yemen?
A lot. Yemen's been.
Do you know how many children are dying every day in Yemen?
Not sure. Tell me.
Thousands from starvation.
You're half Yemeni. Oh no, from Yemen.
My mum is from Yemen,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
she's
yeah.
Jewish. Yemenis. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the question is, where are the people in the street for the children in Yemen? Where are they? Where in universities? Where are they in what's happening in Sudan and to the Christian people around? Or in Syria, where are they? Why aren't there no riots in the street about it? Where are they? They're more killing there than in Gaza. And where are they? And if they're not there, they're not, why? You know why? No Jews, no news.
Because there's a lot of stuff happening in those countries.
Much more than what's happening in Gaza. But nobody cares about those people. And it happened way before Gaza. Where were you then when it was happening? Where were you? Where's the uprise?
Okay, let me ask you another question. So a lot of these militant groups are now pretty much, disbanded or destroyed, or they're not really a threat to Israel. I wouldn't,
Not right now. Yes,
not right now. Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Iran. Do you see them as threats? Like, would Israel see them as threats? Like, mainly Qatar and Iran, but Saudi recently just backed Iran with what's happened. Yeah. Saudi's very powerful. Mohammed bin Salman, he's come out and condemned the attacks that Israel did to Iran. What are your thoughts? Do you reckon they will try something on Israel, or they've just more looking?
No.
Iran will be on its own. Like,
you're asking two questions. Number one, yes, they're a threat. You're asking if they're a threat. Yes, they're a threat. Every country that is a Muslim country is a threat to Israel. Every country that is a Muslim country is a threat to Israel, and I repeated it on purpose. Yeah. Why they probably won't try anything? Because we serve them hummus and not sushi. So they know not to fuck with us because we've had enough. Up until now, we were Europe. We're no longer Europe. Now we live in the Middle East. Now we like you. And if you think it's cruel because people are dying in a war, don't start a war. Don't start a war, then you won't get a war back.
So if a war started, just say hypothetically, if a war started between Iran and Israel.
It started.
Yeah. Who's going to be backing who? You got America instantly backing Israel. Australia's shitting themselves at the moment. They're saying de-escalation. Australia is a little blip, like a little grain of sand. We're nothing.
Sorry, Australia. I love you, but
we can't even defend ourselves from Indonesia. Yeah. We're nothing. I don't even know why Albanese opened his mouth. He's a moron.
He's
But tell me, like, from a geopolitical, geostrategic standpoint, you see Iran and you see Israel, right? If there was a full-on military conflict, who would be backing up Israel, and who do you think that Israel and America essentially would be fighting against? Just say who will back Iran?
Iran is backed up by. It's a Muslim country at the moment.
All the main Muslim countries would back them.
Correct. Yeah.
Because there's Sunni and Shia.
In one way or another, they would back him. But it's very interesting question, because the Iranian people are not Muslims. They don't want to be Muslims. It's their regime who is Muslim.
Correct.
They're not Muslims. They don't want that regime. That works for Israel. That's our salvation. The Iranian people will stand with Israel. The regime won't. But it was the people in the ground, and they're doing it now. They're in the streets right now. And Benjamin Netanyahu told them, we open the door for you. Go through it. Yeah.
To come to Israel?
No. Oh. Fight for your freedom. Fight for your freedom, he said. We are with you. Fight for your freedom. We just opened the door for you. Get out. Fight for your freedom. Save your women.
So if they can have a revolution, that's what you're talking about. If it's possible to have an Iranian revolution,
correct.
Then
And that's
Iran
what I
could
said
save
to you.
itself.
Correct. And that's why I said to you, this war will change the geopolitical and the Middle East, just like 67 did and just like 73. And who did it? The Jews, the Israelis. They did it. Yeah. And we're doing it again. And we're copying shit for it. And the world hates us for it. But we don't care. And when you said who is going to be the allies of the Jews and the Israelis, my honest answer to you is that it doesn't matter, and I don't care, because nobody is coming to the Jews but the Jews. If everybody comes for the Jews, it's because they want something, because they're getting something out of it, not because they care about the Jews. The Americans don't care about the Jews. Nobody cares about the Jews but the Jews. So we're now learning it's us. And it's only us. And we have no place to go. So if we have to, we will die for our country, because we're not going back to the Holocaust. We're not going back to the camps. We're not going back to hide in attics like Anne Frank. nobody now is giving them a scared Jew. I'd rather giving you a dead Jew, but you won't get a scared Jew for me ever again. And that's what we meant, never again. We didn't mean it's not going to happen to us again, because we knew it will. But we did mean you're not getting a scared Jew anymore. You're getting a dead one, not a scared one. No attics for us, no camps, no gas chambers. You get a dead Jew, but not a scared Jew.
What is the quote? It goes, I'd rather
On my knees.
I'd rather die than live on my knees.
Correct.
Yeah.
I'd rather die on my feet than
Die on my feet than live on my knees.
live on my knees.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have reached this point, but something bigger is happening beyond all that. Beyond all that, something above. And I believe in God, and I've got. This is it. This is the cycle, and it starts with the Jews and it ends with the Jews, and that's the cycle. There's a big cycle that's ending right now worldwide. And we're just a canary in the mine. The Jews are just a canary in the mine. We're the first to smell the gas. Literally. Yeah?
Yeah.
Because we know how it smells so well. So we're smelling the gas, and we're trying to tell you, listen, we don't care if you like us or not, but you're next. Because you know what they say. First, they come for the Saturday people. That's the Jews. Second, they're going to come for the Sunday people.
That's the Christians.
Yep. And we warned you. There you go.
Beautiful.
Okay, let's move on. So we conquered that bit.
Yep.
And guess what? We said this, and no country ever said that, because it's our now. We conquered it. We were attacked. UN resolution, yeah?
Yep.
We said this. We want peace with you. We will give it back to you for peace. How's that? We'll give it back to you for peace. What do you think? Egypt said yes. It's getting really interesting here. Egypt said, give us, it wasn't Yasser Arafat, it was Begin, Anwar Sadat. There you go.
Anwar
Sadat. Anwar Sadat was murdered for that. They killed him for that. He was murdered.
For working with Israel?
For working with Israel. He was murdered. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So it was Camp David Accord.
Okay.
And Begin, Menachem Begin was the Israeli minister. They said, okay, we are giving you back I, as a kid, used to travel in Sinai. It was a part of Israel. It is the most amazing desert ever. It's beautiful. It's biblical. So
Mount Sinai is where Moses had the tablets.
Correct. So it's
the
it's
Ten
biblical.
Commandments,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
There you go.
So it was beautiful, and we loved it. But we gave it all away so we can have peace with
Neighbours.
Then we started. This is where it becomes interesting. But you know what the Egyptians said?
What?
We don't want Gaza. We don't want it. You keep it. You keep Gaza. We don't want it.
Well, why did they say that? The Gaza's your problem, or
the Palestinians are your problem. We don't want it.
So let me ask you a question. Yeah, the Palestinians, because I hear a lot of people, when I'm talking to people that are very pro-Palestine, the Nakba.
Mm-hmm.
They say Israel
We'll
forced
get to that.
900,000
We'll
people
get to
out.
Because
I'd love
that will
to
lead,
touch on that.
That will lead to that. Yes,
Okay.
yes, that will lead to that.
No worries.
So then we started negotiating with, of course, Jordan for peace. And they said, we don't want the West Bank. We don't want it. You keep it. The Palestinians are your problem, not ours anymore. They hate them. The Egyptians, the Arab world hates the Palestinians. They hate them. You know how they see them?
Why?
Okay. Everywhere they went, they created havocs and war. Everywhere they went, historically, it's proven. You can check. In Lebanon, that's what they did in Lebanon. They nearly killed. They wanted to kill the King Jordan, Hussein. They hated him. The Hashemite kings. They hated him. They wanted to kill him. That's why there was a big revolt and fight among them. And that's why they said there's still Palestinians living in. I don't call them Palestinians because they're not Palestinians. They're Arabs. They're just a breed of Arabs, and they still live in. Some of them still live in Jordan, but they're second class citizens, and they're treated just like what they blame the Jews to do for our Arabs, which is not true. The Arabs, there's 2 million Arabs lives among us in Jews. They're like Israeli citizens. They don't want to go anywhere else.
What percentage of that is the
20%?
Citizens?
20%.
20% of
Yep.
the citizens of
Correct.
Israel are Arabs.
Yes.
And they live in peace, harmony, no dramas.
Yeah, there are judges, lawyers. They serve in our government, in our army. In fact, there was a judge, an Arab judge, a Palestinian Arab judge, that put a prime minister and a prime minister and a president in jail.
Wow.
We have lawyers, and we have, in fact, my lawyer in Israel, he's Arab. His name is Munir, and he's Arab. They all speak Hebrew and Arabic and English. We get along like house on fire. They live among us. They live with us. They work with us. So the whole idea of apartheid, that Israel is an apartheid state, is absolutely ridiculous. They have no idea what they're talking about. Again, it boils down to the simple old hatred of the world. They hate the Jews, so...
Now, let me ask you a question. In regards to Gaza, I wanted to touch on Gaza a bit later, but I just wanted to ask you a question about Gaza now. What do you think the best outcome for Gaza is in terms of, because like I think the North Gaza is pretty much rubble now, like with the amount of bombing that is taking place. I'm guessing that's where most of the Hamas was.
No, they were
and
everywhere.
the hostages.
No, they were
just
everywhere.
everywhere.
They're flat. Gaza is flattened.
Okay.
Rafah, Khan Yunis.
What do you think a solution for Gaza is? Because I know Trump's come out and he said that, you know, we need to redevelop Gaza, take the Palestinians out, and then get in there with teams to rebuild, and then get the Palestinians in there. Do you think that's even feasible?
No.
Or
if you would have asked me that 5 years ago, I would say yes. I'll be all for two-state solutions, which we had. We had a two-state solution. We had two states. We had Palestine and we had Israel.
Yep.
Why did they attack us? Why October 7 took place? Now a lot of people will tell you, oh, you know, because it was an open air. It wasn't.
open air prison?
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. There was billions of dollars pumped into this place, billions of dollars into this country. When Israel left in 2005, they left them. Because Israel lived there. Jews lived in Gaza. We lived there. And then when we decided the two-state solution, we removed all the Jews, including the bones of the dead. We removed out of it because no Jews stayed there. It was a prosperous greenhouses for flowers, massive industry. We left it all there for them. All of it was there for them. They could have turned this place into the most amazing place, but instead they took all the pipes of the water and they started creating what we call Qassam, handmade rockets.
Pipe bombs.
Yeah, it's called Qassam. And they used to they started shooting against us, and then through Egypt tunnels and other places, they started getting money, and they used all this money instead of creating infrastructure, hospitals, schools and stuff like that. They actually started building their tunnels, billions of dollars worth of tunnels. And the actual leaders lived in Qatar as billionaires. You know, you know how much most of them were worth? $5 billion. Why aren't you?
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, instead of going to the people of Gaza, the poor people of Gaza. The poor people of Gaza are not the poor people of Gaza. They voted for Hamas. And if you see the footage of what actually took place in October 7, they're all cheering. They're all excited about what happened. They were so happy to see what happened until today. And it's a cult. It's a death cult. It's a death cult. That's what we're dealing with. And I don't care what anybody thinks about me right now. I really don't care. Israel have reached a position, or a lot of Jews and Israelis have reached a position saying, no matter what we do, no matter what will happen, you will think whatever you want about us anyway. So we stop to try and justify ourselves right now. We know who we are. Nobody else can tell us who we are. And we don't care what you think about us. We know one thing. We're good people. We want to live in peace in our own country. And the motto right now of Israelis right now is, leave us alone. Let us live our lives in our country. Just leave us alone. We do good for the world. You know, I mean, if we do the statistics of, how many a Nobel Prize and all, we all know about it. We don't know how many of them, 25% of them are Jews, and how much we contribute to the world, how much we do good to the world, how much we science, name it. The Jews, and we're tiny. Do you know the percentage of Jewish people in the planet? How many of us there are?
Less than 1%, I'm guessing.
0.01%.
That's tiny.
Tiny. It's about 15 to 16 million people around the world.
Yet a lot of people in the world think that the Jews
We
control the world.
So let me ask you this. If we control the world, we are the most persecuted people on the planet. How could it be that we control the media in the world and everything, and we're the most persecuted people on the planet? How does it make sense to even say that? Because if we control the media, if we control the narrative, if we control the world and control the money, we will win everywhere, every war all the time. We don't want war. Ask us what we want.
So the preemptive strikes that, I'm guessing that they are preemptive strikes because the strikes that they've done are on the commander, I think his name's Salami.
Yeah. They killed 12 of their leaders, 12 of them directly. They've been eliminated.
And I saw some of the footage of the buildings.
Yeah.
The buildings are still intact.
Yeah. Yeah.
The people's neighbours are still alive, but
because we're not there to kill citizens. We love the Iranian people. We're not even there to kill Palestinian kids like they tell us. Like they think. All those stupid rumors, blood libel, what I call that, saying that Israeli on purpose go. I'm Israeli. I'm Jewish. I'm a human being. I've been in the Israeli army. There's no way in the world, I don't care what footage you bring in front of me right now and what doctors are saying when they're seeing children with bullet holes in their head. I don't care what you say. I know my people. There's no way in the world my people will see a child and aim a bullet toward them and shoot them. No way in the world we will do that. But I can tell you, for Hamas to justify their narrative, they will do it. They will put those children in front of a bullet, so the whole world, with all due respect, with their stupidity, will believe it. And they're winning this war because of this. They're winning this war. The world believed them. The world believed that this is what's happening. But right now, we don't care what the world believe anymore, because it doesn't matter what will happen. They'll believe whatever they want.
All right, let's switch back to Iran.
Let's go back to
I want to talk to you about... Oh, wait, I'm just going to turn that heater down. I'm roasting in here.
I thought that will happen.
Now, I'd like to talk to you about the Iron Dome.
Sure.
What is the Iron Dome and how did Israel build it? Because it's the most powerful anti-missile defense system in the world.
Yeah. So now it's been upgraded. We've been waiting 2 years to upgrade it. Now it's actually laser. So basically it used to cost us, I think, around $200,000 a missile to blow up one missile from the air. Now it costs us like, I think, $20 because we're using lasers. And
serious?
the accuracy is being increased by, I think, 60%. The accuracy, I've just seen footage for using it right. It's unbelievable because we're using laser guided missiles right now.
So $200,000 to $20, that's a big difference.
Fantastic.
Very economical.
And if you think about it, it's a dome that's designed to protect us. It's not a dome that's designed to hurt anybody. It's a dome that's designed to protect us. I don't know much about the technology. For a long time, it was kept secret. It's been developed for a long time. And
that's the most advanced technology in the world.
In the world.
In the
Actually,
world. America wants it now.
They just bought it. Yeah. America won it. And yeah. And it can defend, it can.
Hey, do you reckon Israel will give it to India just in case Pakistan launches anything?
Israel will give India anything they want. Israel love the Indians. Absolutely. We have a common enemy. Israel will give India whatever they want.
Okay, let's get back to the dome.
Sure.
So the dome.
So the Iron Dome is an amazing system. I don't know much about it because I'm not a scientist and I haven't been in the army for a long time. But from what the little that I know that it's a coordinated effort. So it's human, machines, and...
oh my God, I turned the bloody heater on full instead of off. Where were we at?
The Iron Dome. What is... So the Iron Dome is not just a dome, as you can see. So it's not like a dome around the country. We call it the Iron Dome because it creates this, like this protection, like a dome.
Yeah.
But what it is, it's a coordination effort between very sophisticated and smart people that work around the clock on computers that can detect from a distance. And we work with of course, the Air Force and a lot of information that comes to us. We know we can detect from miles away, like when the Houthi sends on us, that's miles away from Israel. We know when it's going to hit, when it's coming, and we are ready for them when they arrive. And when they arrive, it's a coordinated effort between people, computers and machine and weapon that actually destroys whatever comes our way in the air before it actually. Now it depends a lot on mainly the problem with the Iron Dome is not its accuracy and its success. It's more how many missiles will be shot at us at the same time. It sometimes can overload the system.
Well, that's what Iran is doing. That's what Iran
Yeah.
does. They want, because they know they've tried many times,
Yeah.
right? So the only way that they can get a couple of missiles through
Correct.
is to overwhelm the Iron Dome.
Correct.
Now, what percentages of that?
90. I think the success rate is 92, or don't get me wrong, 92 or 96% success. From memory, from what I remember, when the first time Iran launched at Israel, there was 800 missiles
In one go?
I think so. Yeah.
Because that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah.
How many missiles does Iran have to
Yeah.
launch at the same
I
time?
think over 100 at least.
Okay.
At least over 100.
Just to get a couple
And
in.
they have to come together. They have to be launched at the same time. So they will come in waves. And there was great footage recently, but now they're using the laser guided. It's unbelievable. You can see it in the air being the lights. But the question I've got for you is this. Imagine Hamas would have spent this money to create their own Iron Dome. Imagine Hamas would have spent this money to create bunkers for their people. That's the fundamental difference. We care about our people. If we care about our people, that means we care for people. Imagine they would have done that. Now, I'll tell you another thing. Imagine Israel didn't have the Iron Dome and all those missiles were shot at us. The pictures that the world will see right now of children in Israel, even in bunkers, blown to pieces.
If you didn't have the Iron Dome, you would have been dead a long time ago.
Absolutely.
You wouldn't have even you wouldn't exist anymore. That's the reality.
Correct. But we knew that this is going to happen, and we took care of it. We took care of our people.
The Jews stick together. That's
Yes.
one thing
Yeah.
that I will take my hat off to them.
Yep.
You guys stick together.
Yep.
Very, very community minded, close, look after each other.
I'm going to repeat what Douglas Murray said again. Only the Jews are coming for the Jews. Only the Jews will take care of the Jews. We're about one big family. When something happened to one of us out there, it doesn't matter who it is. In America, those couple who just died, and the group that just got burned by this pro-Palestine that sell Free Palestine and burned old people with Molotov cocktails. When that happened, a limb of each one of us got chopped off around the world. Each one of us grieves that. There aren't many of us. And, we still didn't recover the amount of people that we had since the Holocaust. We still didn't come to this amount of people that were before the Holocaust.
How many people were before?
Before the Holocaust took place?
Yeah.
I think there was maybe 17 million Jews around the world, and now we're around 15. So we still didn't recover.
Are you doing more than the Greeks? I think there's only 11 million Greeks. Oh, but all around the world, I think there's like probably 30 million. But in Greece, there's only about 10, 11 million.
Yeah. But we're talking world. So in
Israel, how
in
many?
Israel, there's only 6 million Jews in Israel. The rest
Okay.
are Arabs. There is, I think, 12 or 10 million people all around living in
So
Israel. That
Just a little bit more than Melbourne.
Yeah.
The population
Correct.
of Melbourne.
In a
But
tiny-
it's smaller than Melbourne,
It's
right?
tiny. Melbourne, the city, or Victoria?
Oh, yeah. Well,
Think Manhattan. That would be easy. It's the size of Manhattan.
Tel Aviv
Tel
or
Tel
the
Aviv
whole
is-
Israel.
the whole of Israel is the size of Manhattan. It's tiny. It's a tiny little strip of land.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah,
It's right. It's pretty small, man.
it's tiny, and it's the only one we've got. It's the only Jewish nation in the planet. We don't have any. We've got Arabs. We've got, I think, 27 Arab. There's almost 2 billion Arabs in the world. There's 27 countries which are Arabs, and we are the colonizers. Do you know how you know what's the first sign for to find out if a country was colonized? What's the first thing to look at?
What they were before? Or
Language.
Oh, language. Yeah.
So how many countries in the world speaks Arab? 27. That they didn't always speak Arabic before that. That means this is how many countries the Muslims conquered. How many countries are speaking English? This is how much the British people conquered. How many countries in the world speaks French?
That's how many. The French conquered.
And Spanish.
English is going to become the most dominant language for sure. It already is. Number one language, English.
Correct,
So I
yes.
think the English did a pretty good job with the colonization. But
What do you mean pretty good job?
They did the best job, I guess. Commonwealth.
As in, I don't know.
No, I personally, because I'm half Greek, half Indian,
yeah.
right? My Indian side, doesn't, I have my reservations towards the English
Yeah.
for what they did to India, considering India was a beautiful Hindu, peaceful place. India's
Yeah.
never really started any wars. Recently, they did the strikes on Palestine.
Sure.
Sorry, not Palestine, Pakistan.
Yes.
Because
But it was a retaliation to what took place,
Yeah.
before that.
it was Kashmir is obviously a very hotly debated place. I think Indians see it as their country.
Yeah.
They gave Pakistan they literally cut some of their land to give it to their brothers, just to say, okay, you want to be Muslim, you can be Muslim.
No, they didn't want to be Muslims. The Muslims colonized, like they colonized everything else. It's not that the Indian woke up one morning and said, we want to be Muslims. When the Muslim come and colonize another country, they start like this. They become your neighbor, and they become very friendly with you. And and it can take years. For them, it can take 100 years. Yeah. And they start to reproduce. It's all about reproduction. And there's more and more of them than whoever was the locals. And they're slowly starting to take the place. And then when the locals are being attacked, they stab them in the backs. That's what happened. That's what happened everywhere. I'm sorry. You can hate me. That's how it is. I'm blunt as ass, but that's what it is.
You're entitled to your opinion in this free world.
Yep.
That's exactly right.
Yep.
Everyone's allowed to speak what they want to say.
Yep.
Yeah. And I'm not going to stop anyone from saying what they feel that is necessary for them and their being. You're allowed to speak your mind on this podcast.
Yep.
If I want to have a Palestinian person on next, they're allowed to say whatever they want.
Absolutely.
Everyone is entitled to speak.
Absolutely.
Whatever they want.
And you know what? When you invited me here, I was hoping that there will be a Palestinian here so I can debate that for him. But that's okay. Maybe next time.
Look, if there is a Palestinian that would like to come on to debate you,
Yeah.
I'm happy to organise that.
Sure.
I'm all about people expressing their opinions.
Yep.
And that everyone's entitled to.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you are entitled to speak your mind.
Indonesia.
It's Muslim, isn't it?
But what was it before?
I think it was Hindu, because Bali
Buddhist.
Buddhist.
Buddhist. What happened to Indonesia? What happened to the Indonesian Buddhists? Where are they?
Converted or dead?
Why did they convert it? What's the Islam motto? What's the Sharia law about conversion? What's the Sharia law?
Convert or die?
Yeah. Dhimmis, pay us what we ask for you. Well, if you're Jewish or Christian, they kill you. If you're Jewish or Christian, they keep you because you're the Abrahamic. But you have to pay. You have to become a dhimmi. You have to pay them tax or whatever. If you don't, they kill you. If you're anything else, they kill you. So that's the Sharia law.
Wait, so if you're Abrahamic besides Jewish, because they'll guarantee probably kill you if they find out you're Jewish.
Yeah, for some reason, if you belong to the Abrahamic, according to Islam, if you belong to the Abrahamic branch
Then
of
you're
religion,
okay?
no, you're not okay because you're not Muslim. So you can choose not to convert. If you're a Christian or Jew, you can choose not to convert. But if you don't convert, you become a dhimmi. That means you have to pay tax. You're like a slave in a way. If you don't do that, then they take what you have.
That's interesting.
But if you're not Jewish or Christian, you have to convert to Islam, and if you don't, they kill you.
I had a thing happen to me. I went to the National Gallery of Victoria, the NGV, and I went there for a Pharaoh exhibit. And on the way out, I was walking out, and a Muslim guy approached me, and he goes, "Brother, this is the only book you'll ever need." And he handed me the Quran. Like a small little mini Quran. I didn't understand what was going on, and then I opened it. I'm like, "Oh, this is the Quran." Okay. And I was speaking to him about it, and he goes, "This is the only book you'll ever need, brother." And I go, "Okay, have you read the book?" He goes, "Nah, I haven't finished it yet." And I was a bit confused. I go, "You're preaching a book that you haven't finished reading? What the hell?" And anyway, I asked him, "What's your background?" And he was Greek, but he had just recently converted. And I asked him why he converted, and he was adamant that this is the only religion that I need.
Yeah, but that's not an answer.
Everything. Yeah, I know. And I didn't really understand what he was on about. I was like, "Thank you. I've got to go, live my life now. I'll see you later." Very confusing. I think when I asked him, and he was Greek, I could even see that he was conflicted in himself.
Yeah.
A bit. It was very strange.
Yeah.
But they were preaching. They were just handing out a lot of Qurans. And then you know what? You're entitled to do what you want to do. There's plenty of people that were doing the same thing for Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
And there was groups. There was like 10 guys going around, preaching the gospel of Jesus. And then there was guys going around preaching the Quran. I guess that's what people do in the city
that's
to kind
fine.
of like
That's
get
absolutely
more
fine.
members,
I'm all for it.
Mormons, whatever.
Absolutely, I'm all for it. But a Christian won't kill you if you're in a Christian country. You won't be killed. If you're in a Muslim country, you would. That's the difference. Very fundamental. Let me ask you, who wrote the Quran?
Was it Muhammad?
He couldn't read and write.
I don't know then. I'm not sure.
He spoke and people wrote it for him
Okay.
because he couldn't read and write. And he said that's the word of God. And he said God spoke to him and he brought the word of God and people wrote it on his behalf. So that's another little information that would be very interesting for people to read the Quran. So, but
going back to wrapping back to the Iran and Israel conflict that's going on right now, how would the neighboring countries' roles take place? Do you think that, like you were mentioning before with the 1967, the five countries attacking all at once, do you feel that maybe Saudi Arabia, Qatar, you're looking at Egypt, Jordan, are they all going to have a chat with Iran and be like, hey, let's just send some armies in to try to clean them out and just wipe them out? Like, what do you think is going to happen as a retaliation to Israel doing these strikes? And I know Israel's got America's support. I know America's getting ready. They're already starting to send troops to Israel.
Yeah.
So things
There's
are
a rumor
really
that the
hot.
embassy in Iraq was attacked, but I don't know if it's true or not. It could be just a rumor. There was a rumor that the embassy in Iraq, but I think I don't have any evidence, any proof to that.
Okay.
Just a rumor.
What are your thoughts on the surrounding neighbors to Iran?
Okay.
Gathering up forces to take you guys on, and also Hezbollah, like you got Hamas, you've got the Houthis. Will they be activating these militant groups? Because I know they have a deep hatred for Israel. They want Israel gone at any cost. That's like their dream.
It's a very good question, and I think the best answer I can give you is this. Bear with me because you probably won't understand the answer first, but I will explain it to you.
I'll give you the floor.
In the Middle East, we don't eat sushi. In the Middle East, we eat hummus. And what that meant is this.
I love hummus.
Yeah, good. In Europe and in America and in Japan, you guys, we eat sushi. So that's what I mean by that. That's the language of the place. Israel was trying for many years to serve sushi to the Arab world. So that means we try to speak.
Democracy?
Yeah, we were trying to be westernized. We were trying to speak like them, and it never worked. So now we're offering them hummus. And the only way that the Middle East will know, and I'm going to be very crude because he said I can say whatever I want, not to fuck up with Israel, is to show them how powerful Israel is. With the Arab world, it's like this. Because that's their language. It's not, Israelis never want to speak this language. We never want to be violent. We want to be like the West. In fact, Jews are the West. They are the West, and I'll prove it to you in a minute. We are the West. We are the very essence of the West. And we are in a country now surrounded with people who are not West. So we are now learning the language of this place. And the language of this place is don't fuck with us or you'll find out. Because that's exactly how the Arab speaks to each other. Now we've learned their language. And now we're going to shape the whole place. We're going to now, just like 1967 and 1973, which is Yom Kippur War, which we also were attacked by all these countries, and we won them as well. We shaped the Middle East, but now we're shaping it to the extent because now we're much more powerful and we're stronger, whether we've got allies or not. And it's very interesting. Then we had more allies. Now we have less allies. But we are fighting on our own. I heard something really funny today. Someone said, now there are 3 things that you can see from the moon. The Great Wall of China, the Great Barrier Reef, and the balls of Benjamin Netanyahu. Right?
Yeah.
So that's what's happening right now. We just said, listen, We're not going to wait for you to do what you did in 1967 or 1943. We're not going to wait for you to do it anymore because we did it before because we were eating sushi. We're not eating sushi with you anymore. We're eating hummus. And therefore, don't fuck with us.
So you're telling me the only way, like, so Bibi Netanyahu has tried diplomacy.
Now, Bibi Netanyahu, a lot of people don't know a lot about Bibi Netanyahu. I'll tell you something. I'm not very political in regards to Israeli politics. And don't get me wrong, I don't take a side about the politics. Bibi Netanyahu is in exactly the same place that he needs to be right now in history. And that's, to me, is a fact. Doesn't mean I like him or I like what he does or how he does it. But I'll tell you something about Bibi Netanyahu people don't know, or a lot of people don't know. Have you ever heard of the Entebbe when Idi Amin from Uganda allowed a group of Palestinian and Germans to hijack a plane, an Israeli plane, and they took it to Uganda. It was called the Entebbe because it was the Entebbe airport. A plane was hijacked. It was landed in Entebbe, and it was packed with Jews and some non-Jews. And they released all the non-Jews, and they kept the Jews. They killed a few of them, and some of them were Holocaust survivors. In fact, from memory, I think one of them they pushed from the plane in a wheelchair. And there was an operation taking place from the Israeli army to go and save those people. It was one of the most successful, if not the most successful ever in history, of retrieving hijacked airplane and the thing. And they went there with Hercules planes. They flew really low underneath the radar. They managed to get there. They planned it within few weeks. They managed to land in Entebbe, kill all the terrorists who did it. Some people, I think 2 or 3 people died, and bring everybody back home in one piece. Now, the point that I'm trying to tell you got to do with Benjamin Netanyahu is because the leader of the this operation is the brother of Benjamin Netanyahu, and he's a hero, Israeli hero. And Netanyahu was very close to his brother. He loved him. I think his name was Danny Netanyahu. I could be wrong. And it's in his blood to save the people of Israel. And I think he's a bit blinded by it. And sometimes when you're blinded by it, you can make mistakes and you can make bad decisions. And I'm not 100% supporting everything that Benjamin Netanyahu is doing, but I can tell you one thing. I know war and I know how war works, and most people out there don't know. People die in war. And right now, Benjamin Netanyahu is in exactly the place he needs to be in history. And he might suffer later on for what he's doing, but he will also be praised and he will be remembered. And right now he's standing for the Jewish people.
Because the pro-Palestine people, they see Bibi Netanyahu
as the devil,
as literally shaitan, as they call him.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course they do.
They see him as Satan, like reincarnated on earth.
But that's going back to the point I told you. He's feeding them hummus. He's talking their language. So they're scared of him. And that's what we need. We need them to be scared, because if they're not scared, they will destroy us.
Are you telling me that's the only language that they know how to speak?
Right now, but they want to change that. But now, because of that, that's why I'm saying that geographically and politically, the region is going to change. And that's the Abrahamic Accord that's coming up next. That's what
Jordan Peterson talks about.
Yeah, but that's the baby of Trump.
Okay.
That's Trump's baby. Okay. That's what he wants.
Yep.
And the Abrahamic Accord basically saying we all descended from Abraham. All the religions. We need to unite. I like that. I don't know how he goes about it, and maybe I won't like the way he goes about it, but I do like the concept. We're all coming from the same place.
So let me ask you something in regards to Iran. Before the 1970s, before the Ayatollah came in, I've seen photos of Iran, and Patrick Bet-David from the PBD podcast, he's an Iranian citizen, Christian Iranian that fled, like a lot of other Iranians that fled the country after it became an Islamic state. When I see photos in the 60s, it looked very liberal.
Bikinis, ladies with bikinis.
Gorgeous women.
Yeah.
Very, very westernized. And it changed.
Why?
It went in the other direction.
Why?
do you feel like, do you think like this is why, for example, people let the Mossad build a warehouse to build things because they want their country to go back to a Western world?
Yes, part of it.
Because there was a civil war, or no, sorry, not civil war. There was protests and civil unrest a few years ago, I think during the COVID days.
Correct. It's been for a while. It's been going for a while. It's
Okay.
been going for years.
Yep.
So the Iranian people originally are not Muslims. They've never been Muslims.
The Persians, what religion?
It's a
were
different language and they're not Muslims. Persia was never Muslim. There were a lot of Christian there, and I think they have their own Zoroastric, I think.
they? Zoroastrian.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
But they were never ever Muslims. So the Muslim came over like they do with every other country that they conquer, and they forced the religion. And with the religion comes Sharia law, and with Sharia law comes all those rules, like you said, you saw in the 70s, and they forced their women to wear the hijab, and they slowly bred themselves. That's what they do. They breed themselves into. They marry their women. They force them to, it's all about education. That's what happened in Gaza with the kids. If you look at all the little kids in Gaza, all they've been brainwashed to say is to kill the Jews. The Jews are evil. They never even met a Jew. From a baby, they train them to hate us, indoctrinate them. So they're telling them, you got to hate the Jews. The Jews is the most. They call us pigs and we've got horns, and that's how they describe us. And they've got a Mickey Mouse version of Mickey Mouse that trained those kids in a young age to hate Jews. And now they penetrated the United Nations. So the Muslims now penetrated the United Nations. And we are the powerful one, and the Jews are the powerful one. The Jews are the one who control the world. No, the Muslims control the world right now with their money, and they manage to penetrate so many places in the world.
I have a question for you regarding what the Ayatollah has said in regards to the attacks that Israel conducted yesterday. And he mentioned that the plague of Zionism, they use the word Zionism. What is Zionism? I just wanted to bring that up, and what are Zionists? What is Zionism? I hear it a lot. And people are always saying that Zionists control the world.
Okay.
It's all about Zionism.
Okay. So I'll ask you a question first, and then I'll give you an answer.
Okay.
Do you believe that the Jewish people are entitled to have their own country and sovereign country of their own? Do you believe that we deserve a country of their own?
I think you do. You're hard workers. You're
But do we
community based.
Okay. Do you believe that the English people deserve to have England as their own country? And the French, they deserve to have their own country?
Yep.
And so on and so on.
Yep.
Do you believe that the Jews deserve to have their own country?
I do.
Then you're a Zionist. That's what Zionism is.
Is that it?
That's it. Zionism means that we, as a people, believe that we deserve to be a sovereign
Is that all
country.
it is?
That's what it is.
Okay.
That's all that it is. But
Okay.
it's been twisted and changed. So the father of Zionism, his name is Theodor Herzl. Before the Second World War, he started to build a movement called the Zionist movement that believed what I just told you.
Okay.
And he kind of predicted what's going to happen in the Holocaust. He knew that if the Jews are not going to have their own land, pogrom after pogrom after pogrom after pogrom. And I'll tell you something really interesting about Theodor Herzl that most people don't know. He said the Jews have to have their own country or it will never end. The hatred and the pogrom and the Holocaust, that's before the Holocaust, but there was so many pogroms before that of persecuting Jews around the world. And he knew that we need to give the Jews a land of their own. Initially, it wasn't even Israel. The world was debating Uganda and even Australia, I think. There was a little piece of land that there was... But they
Israelia. I think they mentioned the word, they'll turn it into Israelia. They'll give like a Perth or Western Australia or something.
But the Jews just wanted to go back home, to their ancestor home, where they belong, where they feel they belong.
And England made that happen after the Holocaust. After World War II, Israel did that.
It was it was called, the place was called at the time the English Mandate. So basically it was called Syria Palestina.
Yep.
At the time.
Yep.
But in every stamp that you see and in every coin that you see, and that the pro-Palestine using it a lot against us. Oh, see, it's called Palestina. It's called Palestina. But if you look in the bottom, there is Aleph Yud next to it in Hebrew. Do you know what Aleph Yud means in Hebrew?
No.
Eretz Israel, the land of Israel. But they fail to tell you that. Yeah, they use it against us, and they're twisting things. The reality. So people don't know that. So basically,
the way that I see it is, I believe Israel, the Jews deserve to have a home, and I believe that the Palestinians deserve to have a home too. It's just, it needs to be figured out.
who are the Palestinians?
The Palestinians.
Who are they? No. Who are they? Who are the Palestinians? You can tell me who the Jews are. I can tell you who the Jews are. Who are the Palestinians?
Well, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Before the Israel was Israel, just say like pre-World War II, this is probably the times when they were getting the Jews were getting persecuted in Germany, which was horrific. The people that were living in that area, Syria, Palestine, whatever you want to call it, were they Christian?
Jews, Christians, Arabs.
The mixed bag, bit of everything.
Mixed bags of everything.
Okay.
In fact, a lot of rich people around the world, like Rothchild and other people, bought a lot of land in Israel, and there was like land of Jews that owned it. Yeah, and there was a lot of land that Arabs.
Rothschilds were buying land.
You're correct. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, Rothschild is Jewish. Yeah. Rothschild and Dizengoff. There was a lot
They're
of.
like the
famous
head of Zionism. People refer to the Rothschilds as the head.
Yeah, because they were the one who believed that the Jews deserved to have a country of their own, so they would buy land in the.
And they were the banking cartel. They were the banking
Rockefellers.
institutions.
They were Rockefellers.
Rockefellers was oil.
Now we're moving into the realm of conspiracy theory.
Okay.
Because
But I'm just
no,
interested.
because Rockefellers are not even Jewish.
No, Rockefeller is American.
Yeah,
That's
but-
just straight American.
Yeah, but they're not Jewish. A lot
No.
of people relate them to Jewish, but we won't. It's a different
Oh,
subject.
that's interesting. But yeah, in regards to the Rothschilds, they were very good with banking. They made a lot of money, right? They set up a lot of banks, and they probably used that money that they made to
buy-
start Israel, to buy Israel.
And there was
so then they can have a
Montefiore.
home
There
for
was,
their people.
there was the family of Montefiore. There was a guy by the name of Montefiore. He was very, very rich. He's also Jewish, and he also bought a lot of land. We've got streets named after
So you
him.
guys were buying the land,
No,
paying money.
we lived there from the beginning of. There was Jewish people living in Israel from the beginning of the biblical time. We never. There was always Jews living there.
Yep.
Yeah, but there was different mandates, different places conquered it, like the Romans, the Greeks, the Ottomans. It was on. It goes on and on and on and on.
Continuously, yeah, just different.
Yes, but Jews
owners.
always lived there, always. Yeah, the Arabs that live there, I think, maybe about 80% of them are refugees from wars in their own country. And how do we know that? All the surnames of probably 85 or 90% of all the Palestinians are El Masri. Do you know what that means?
Are the second names the areas from which they come
The
from?
Egyptian. El Baghdadi. Do you know what that means?
Baghdadi, I have.
They from Iraq.
Okay.
And so on and so on. They came from this. That's their name. Yasser Arafat was. Do you know where Yasser Arafat was born?
No.
In Egypt. Do you know where was he trained and by whom to become who he is? By the KGB. That's not a conspiracy theory. You can Google it. It's there.
Wow.
They trained him to actually create a PLO to be embossed in Israel. Yeah, because they didn't want the Americans. The Russians didn't want the Americans.
Because
to have
Israel
forces
was
there.
backing the Americans, Russia was backing all the Middle East.
Israel was correct. The American foresee. It's all about being a politician. Is all about foreseeing what's the next 100 years would look like.
You got to know that the next 50 moves
And,
ahead.
and you need to start. Not like you and me that we go to work, come back and sleep. We need to think how the next 100 years is going to look like for us as American, for us as Russians, for us and what do we need to do? And we need to be smart about it and just slowly start injecting what it is, what narrative we want to create, and let it grow and feed it. Yeah, we don't care how many people are going to die for it and who is going to die for it. The Jews, and I'm going back to the narrative and the motto that now we all Jews are reaching to.
Yep.
Just leave us alone. We don't want to be you don't use us anymore. So going back to the Palestinian, and I've asked you a question: who are the Palestinians? Who are they?
Well, the way that I see it is the Palestinians are the people that are currently living in Gaza, and they're living in West Bank. The people that are occupying those areas.
Okay.
You know, what would be a solution where people, you know, still get to live there, or is the inevitability that that's the Gaza is prime real estate, and eventually they'll get driven out, and then Israel will get control.
How many Palestinians do you know wants the Jews to live in Israel? How many of them do you know?
I only know one Palestinian, and he came to Australia, and his story is he as a child, he was 1.5 years old. He got thrown into a burning tire yard by IDF soldiers, and half his face was melted and his fingers were fused together. Yeah. And he came to Australia for Australian government spent about 200,000 on surgery to free up his fingers so he had a moving hand, and then they fixed his face up. It was pretty horrific, but he was a really happy guy.
Okay,
but
he told you that.
He didn't tell me that directly. We were only 12 years old. I was a kid when I met him.
Yeah.
The Australian government brought him over. I got to hang out with him for a bit. We didn't really talk about that. That's just what I heard. What happened?
It's
to
very
him.
important what I'm about to tell you.
Yeah.
And this is where words can be very dangerous.
This is why, as a kid.
Yeah. But you said something right now, and people are listening to you.
Yeah.
You said right now, and that's when it becomes very dangerous. You said he came here because the IDF threw them into a burning. Do you know that?
I don't.
Okay.
But this is the story that I've been
this
told.
Is
that's
what
I'm
told
saying.
You. Okay.
He didn't tell me that. That's what I've been. That's what I heard.
Okay. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm not saying that's true, but we have to be very careful.
Of course.
Because words.
Of course.
Create.
Yeah. I was just about to say that.
We have to be very careful what we say. Now, I'm going to go back because this is a question that a lot of people are very sneaky about. That they're trying not to. Yeah. Who are the Palestinians? Who are they?
Well, like I said, I thought he was. I see him as a Palestinian because of the area that he lives in. Okay. That's all it is.
What's the area that he lived in?
Either Gaza or West Bank. If you're in that area, like I think from the world perspective,
how long
from
ago?
someone looking in.
How long ago did he live there?
He was 12 when I was 12. I'm 35 now, so
give me the year.
Probably early 2000s.
Okay, early 2000. Very good. Now,
2002, 2003.
Okay,
he came here.
When was the country of Palestine established?
I am not sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, in 1964, the flag of Palestine was created for the first time.
1954?
64.
64.
Correct, when I was born. That was and it was created by an English person, and it's the flag of almost all Arab people, yeah? The Oslo Accord, I think it was 1987, is when Clinton and Yasser Arafat, and at the time the Prime Minister of Israel was Yitzhak Rabin, decided to create Palestine. Before that, there was no Palestine ever.
What was it before that?
It was
just land.
It was land. It was like there was people, Arab people lived there. In fact, during the before Israel was established in 1948, the Palestinians didn't want to call themselves. The Jews called themselves Palestinians. Golda Meir had a Palestinian passport. She was a Palestinian because we didn't establish the country of Israel yet. So all the people who lived there were called Palestinians, but the Arab didn't want to call themselves Palestinians because they didn't want to associate themselves with the Jews. So they said, "Don't call us Palestinians." Check it.
Wow.
Okay, so who were the Palestinians?
That's what I'd like to know.
They're Arabs. Palestinian people are, and we'll get to the Nakba in a minute,
okay,
because now we're leading toward the Nakba.
Yeah, for sure.
Beautiful. So the Palestinian were Arab people who lived in this land that was English mandate before all the other mandates before that lived there with the Jews and with the Druze and with so many other different religious and group of with the Bedouins. Okay. There were so many people that lived in this land.
Ancient people.
Ancient people, yeah. They all lived there. They didn't live in peace with the Arabs, like the Arabs would like you to believe. Now, the Arabs now are saying, how can you do it to us? After the Holocaust, you came and we welcomed you into this country, and now you're doing this to us? Okay, then tell me about the Hebron Massacre, 1929. Hebron Massacre. Bring it up.
Hebron was right where we were zoomed in on. Is that in Hebron right
That's
there?
Hebron. Bring the Hebron Massacre in 1929. It's identical.
That's Hebron.
Yeah, that's Hebron.
Oh.
You can go to YouTube if you like as well. bring the Hebron massacre in 1929, way before Israel was established. It's identical to what happened in October, 7 October.
1929, the
20
Hebron massacre.
Correct.
Let's go to
Let's have a look at it.
Wikipedia.
Let's see what happened.
Hebron massacre was the killing of 67 or 69 Jews on the 24th of August 1929 in Hebron, Mandatory Palestine. The event also left scores seriously wounded or maimed. Jewish homes were pillaged and synagogues were ransacked. It was a full targeted attack on Jews.
There's your photos.
Back then, photos were pretty rare. That looks
Doesn't matter. But there you go.
pretty bad. No, that's what I'm just saying.
Okay. So now go back and write down all the Arab attacks on Jews prior to 1948. I need some information about all the massacres and attacks that took place against Jews in Palestine by the Arabs prior to 1948, before the establishment of Israel. And can you please send me a list? I would like to see a chronological list of all of them.
I've never used AI in this before, so this is going to be very interesting. This is the first question we've ever given AI.
That'll be interesting. Searching the web. Here you go. We don't have to go through all of them, just to show them, because I've got a point I want to put.
Yeah, I'd like it to be on the screen so people can see that.
Of course. Yeah. All right, here we go.
Oh, wow. It's given photos. It's given full chronological list.
There you go.
All right, let's go through it. Would you like to read? Or
No, you
I can
go
read.
ahead and
Okay. So we got a chronological list of major anti-Jewish attacks on pre-state Palestine. We got 1920, the Nebi Musa riots in Jerusalem. April 4th, 1920, details Arab mobs attacked the Jews in the Nebi Musa festival, resulting in 5 Jewish deaths and over 200 injuries. British administration was criticized for its inadequate response. 1921, a year later, the Jaffa riots. Violence erupted in Jaffa, leading to the deaths of 47 Jews and injuries to 146 others. So substantially from that to that, a lot more people died. 1929, the Hebron massacre. 67 Jews in Hebron, including women and children. Homes and synagogues were looted and destroyed. It just keeps getting more people dying. 1929, the Safed massacre. Arab riders attacked the Jewish quarter in Safed, killing 18 to 20 Jews and wounding approximately 80. Homes and synagogues were burned. So it's just constant systemic attacks. Arab revolt. 1936 to 1939, a nationalist uprising against British rule and Jewish immigration. Numerous attacks on Jewish communities occurred, including the 1936 Jaffa riots, the 1938 Tiberias massacre, 9 Jews in the Jaffa, and then Tiberias 19, including 11 children. That's pretty bad. And then the Civil War period started. What was the Civil War period? Civil war between the Arabs and the Jews, or the Arabs and the Arabs, just themselves?
I think it's the Arabs and the Arabs, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So my question is, if we look at this,
Yep.
Israel didn't exist. The Jews didn't exist at the time.
Did this happen, right? So we got 1936 to 1939, right? When did the World War II start?
The World War II started, I think, 36 from memory.
Okay, so
1936.
then we've got 1936 to 1939.
Yeah.
The Jewish were immigration. There
were always immigration of Jews to Israel. Always.
Even before World War II?
Way before.
Okay.
Always. We call them chalutzim.
Yep.
And they build they will buy the land, and they will build little establishments, and they would live. There were always Jews living in the country. Always. Okay. Always. That's why they were attacked. There you go. If they weren't there, they didn't just come to visit. They lived there. That were their homes.
And how many Jewish people immigrated between those times of World War II till just say the end of World War II?
I can't give you a number, but
I think it was about 900,000. Was it?
It was ongoing. But there was a group of Jews they're called Canaanites. They always lived there. They're like 14, 20, sometimes 25 generations who lived there.
Is that where the language Yiddish comes from?
No, Yiddish came from the Jews who lived in Germany.
Oh, okay.
And Poland. They develop a language of their own, so they can speak their own language, and they develop Yiddish. Yiddish is a combination of biblical language and whatever language they spoke in the place that they lived in, like German and that's Yiddish.
What going to Germany?
I just want to bring the
Sorry,
point I was
sorry.
trying to
Yeah,
bring.
continue.
That's the reason why we looked
Oh,
for
for
it.
the Nakba, yes.
No, but for that.
Yeah.
So the argument of the Palestinian people,
Yep.
is that they welcomed us when we came after the Second World War. Right? They said we were nice to you. We never attacked you. We did the right thing to you. There you go. Lie. Now, my point is this. What was the reason then? Right now they're saying the reason is like free Palestine because the Jews took over and controlled Palestine. They didn't then. So what was the reason to attack the Jews then?
You raise a valid point. This is all before the Nakba.
Way before the Nakba.
Okay.
Nakba is 1948.
Okay, and all right. Well, let's talk about the Nakba
Let's
now,
talk about the Nakba.
because that seems to be a big thing that pro-Palestinian people talk about.
Correct.
Was the Nakba a retaliation to all of this?
No.
What was the Nakba?
The Nakba started in 1948 when the United Nations declared Israel as the nation of the Jews, the part of Palestine.
Yep.
And of course they gave the Arab world their part, whatever they wanted. There was no Palestine country then. They gave Jordan, but
That's when they created all the maps.
correct.
Okay.
But the Arab nations didn't want the Jews there. They said there's no way there's going to be a Jewish nation there. So they went to all the Arabs who lived among the Jews, that had villages and farms, and they lived among the Jews. We lived together, there was no, except those things, there was no. And they said, listen, we're about to attack Israel, and we're going to kill all the Jews, and we're going to take their land. But we need you to move out. And when we'll take over their land, you can come back and take your land back from the Jews. The Nakba in Arabic is called the disaster. That's what it means, the disaster, because it ended up being a disaster. Because the Jews, it's called Milchemet Ha'atasha. We fought back and we won. So those Arabs who left thinking they can come back and take their land, couldn't come back and take their land because the Jews won the war. Yeah.
So that was a war.
There was a war that all the Arabs, called Milchemet Ha'atasha, the word of Hatasha. I don't know the English word for it, but it was a war that we were attacked for the first time by all the Arab nations. And then in 1967 we did again, in 1973 we did again and again. But all these wars we were attacked and we won. And we won, and we won, and we won. You'd think they learned their lesson by now.
It looks like every time you guys get attacked, you get stronger. Something's
Correct.
going right
Correct.
for years. Yeah.
Well, I told you, we've got God, we've got the Torah, and we've got the land of Israel. We've got nothing else. Nothing else.
Defended at all costs.
Where would we go? A lot of people saying, and this is another stupid thing that a lot of people are saying, they're saying the Jews should go back to Europe, Poland.
They didn't.
Do you know that the Ashkenazi Jews that came from Europe, they're only 20% of the Jews who live in Israel. All the rest that came from Arab countries that they've been kicked out. My mom is from Yemen. My father is from Tunisia. The Jews came from Morocco, Iran, Algeria, from all those countries, Egypt. We came from Lebanon. We were kicked out or we would be killed. So we were refugees. And Israel took us in. We took care of our people. We took at it. Why aren't the Arab countries taking all the refugees of Gaza? They're your people. Why aren't you welcoming them in? Why are you keeping them there? But the Jews took all their people. They took them from all the countries they were kicked out from. Ask your question. Egypt, where are your Jews? You had, I think, 170,000 Jews. Morocco, where are your Jews? Where are they?
They all went to Israel.
Where are they? Where are your Jews? They all went to Israel because they were kicked out or they will be killed. So Golda Meir called them all in. The last massive migration of Jews that was saved in the world are the Jews from Ethiopia, the Ethiopian Jews. We took them all in because the Ethiopians were about to kill them. So we brought them all. Israel went and brought them all in.
That's right.
My mom came from Yemen. There were 16 of them, a family of 16. And
Your family is 16?
she was from a family of 16.
Oh, that's a big family.
Yeah.
My God.
No, but only 4 of them arrived. And they left Yemen, walking through the desert to get to the Red Sea. And they were very, very ancient people. So there was a plane, a Hercules plane, waiting for them to take them from there to to Israel. Yeah.
And Israel organized that for their
Israel
people.
organized it for them. Yeah. And my mum came with a family of 16 brothers and sisters. She was a twin.
Yep.
She was born in the desert.
Wow.
And they had a donkey. The twin brother died. So they put my mum as a baby on one side of the camel and they put a rock on the other side so it will balance
Balance
up.
it out.
They, out of 16, there was only 4 of them left because the Arabs on the way looted them and killed them and raped them and took everything they had in the way. All the gold, whatever they had, because they left everything behind. She came from a place called Sana'a in Yemen, yeah? And when they arrived to the Red Sea, there was a plane, a Hercules plane. They had never seen a plane in their life, but there was a very, very old, prophecy among the Yemenis religious people that they said, and it's still in the Bible, that God will bring you back will bring you back to the country of Israel on the wings of eagles.
Wow. That's
And
the
when-
Hercules.
And when they saw the Hercules, they saw there's the prophecy. These are the wings of the eagles who are going to take us back to our country.
Pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
The prophecy happened.
Pretty cool. Yep. My mom arrived to Israel, met my father. He came from Tunisia. He spoke French, and and he was pale in skin. She was dark, and we mingled, and we became what we know of us today.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Beautiful.
I think the most significant in my life right now that relates to all of us as Jews, and I think as people, is the story of Moses and when the Ten Commandments been received in Sinai. Now, it's interesting because the word Sinai, which is desert of Sinai, it sounds exactly the same like the word hate in Hebrew, which is sin'ah. So you've got Sinai, Sinha. Now we're starting to believe that this is where it took place. This is where the Jews received the Ten Commandments. Now, what are the Ten Commandments, really, if you look at them? Ten Commandments are a set of rules of how we should, as human, behave to sustain a society with rules and respect and understanding that we're all human beings and we all need to respect each other and try and live together. Otherwise, we will kill each other. We created the Sabbath. We said you need to rest, including your animals should rest on Sabbath. You need a rest as a human being. Prior to that, those commandments, those ideas never existed. Now, if you think about a person who wants to control the world, these rules will work against them. Because if you get orders and someone tells you you're not allowed to have slaves, you're not allowed to kill people, you're not allowed to control people, you're not allowed. These are the people who said that's dangerous. These people who bring those rules and regulations are dangerous. We hate them. Sinai. That's where it started.
On the Mount Sinai.
On Mount Sinai. That's when they started hating the Jews. Now, the interesting about the other two religions,
Yep.
and we don't know exactly, the difference between, and a lot of Christians are going to hate me, I know that, and a lot of Muslims are going to hate me for saying that. But we call it Ma'amat Sinai, when Moses went up to the mountain and received the commandments. Something quite unusual took place. It's described in the Bible. There was silent. The world went silent. And there was rumbling above the mountain. Something very unusual took place beyond what we know here. We don't know what it was. It wasn't a volcano because there's no record of volcanoes in this area and blah, blah. So something pretty remarkable took place. And 600,000 people viewed that. The Jews that came from Egypt, they viewed it. They viewed something so remarkable, all of them at the same time, together. They were all there, sitting, looking up and going, what's going on? We've never seen anything like it in our life.
Something in the sky.
Something in the sky and in the mountain, all connected together. And Moses went there. Yeah? And they viewed it. They were witnesses to this. And it's in our DNA. That was the contract. Something that all of us saw as witnesses. And we passed it from generation after generation. That's why we celebrate Passover. Every year, for thousands of years, the same stories, the same prayers, tells exactly the same story. Hasn't changed. In fact, there was someone tried to challenge that many years ago, and then they found they did Dead Sea Scrolls, and they found out that whatever the Dead Sea Scroll is saying is identical to what the Bible that we know today say. It hasn't changed for thousands of years.
Wow.
We passed it on. Now you ask yourself, why? What happened to those people to go, wow, we need to make sure everybody knows. Now, by saying that, the difference between Judaism and religion, that's where the essence of Judaism started, when we got the 10 Commandments. That's when we became a nation, a religion, that we thought we had a purpose. And I'll tell you what we believe our purpose is. It's in our Bible, what our purpose as Jews is to the world. We're not chosen because we're better. We have a mission. We don't want it, but it's in our blood. It's a contract in our blood. It passes to our children. We have to do it. Nothing we can do about it. It happened then. Now, the difference between that religion is because there's only about 3 people who saw Jesus being resurrected. They are the only 3 witnesses. They told the story. It may happen, it may not, but there's only 3 witnesses, or 4. I don't know. There's only a few people who actually claim that Muhammad told them their story. But there were 600,000 of us who saw what we saw as witness.
So more eyewitness testimony.
For thousands of years. Yep. But
so when you look back at the creation of Christianity, and then the creation of Islam, and the creation of Judaism, is Judaism the oldest? Because Jesus was a Jew.
Among those 2, yes. But it's a good question. I love that question. I'll tell you why. Because only recently I was trying to answer it to myself. Do you know how they make perfume?
The essence of something.
It's a tiny amount of oil, about that small of essence. It's a tiny amount. It's so potent. It's so strong. It's so pure. It's an origin of a smell. And from that, it's worth thousands of dollars, 50, 60, sometimes $100,000, this tiny amount. Because from that, you can can take the scent and create thousands of colognes and sprays from that tiny. You need a tiny amount, and you mix it with, and the smell is so potent, it goes everywhere. But it's not. But what you buy is not the essence of it. It's not the actual essence. Now that's what Judaism is. Now you took a little bit of that and you mixed it, and you have Christianity. But it's the same smell. Same with Islam. Tiny bit of that and take. But everybody wants to be the essence.
The Abrahamic. Me personally, I'm more for the ancient Greek mythology, which has many gods, and the Hindu religion that has many gods. I understand the Christian. I'm Greek Orthodox, so I was baptized and everything. But I think it's quite limiting to believe just what the Bible puts out. I think, like, for example, the ancient Hindu traditions, and that they go back 80,000, 100,000 years. The stories that they talk about nuclear war happening 50,000 years ago, and the Sanskrit texts. And then you've got the stories of Zeus and the mythology and all the different characters that take place. For me, that's more interesting than New Testament and Old Testament. Like, I appreciate Old Testament and New Testament, and I don't remember the last time I've actually read the Bible, but I think Hinduism is like way more ancient than...
It is 5,000 years old. Sanskrit is 5,000 years ago. Judaism is almost 4,000 years old. So
they're similar.
It's very similar in time. Yeah,
time,
correct.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah. They talk about events that took place hundreds of thousands, and so is Judaism. They talk about events that took place before the creation of planet Earth, Adam and Eve, and all these things. So they talk about all these things. But the point that you know me well to know that I love the Hindu faith. You know that I live there and I love India and I love I know that by heart. I took the time to study it. You didn't take the time to study the Bible, but I took the time to study the mythology and everything. Absolutely. I can tell you all the story about Zeus and all the gods and all of them, and I love them. They're amazing.
Beautiful stories.
Absolutely stories. But do you know how the monoistic God was developed?
How?
So Abraham lived in a place called Mesopotamia.
Mesopotamia means the bottom of the...
Mesopotamia is
Greek.
where Iraq is,
Yeah.
And that was many, many thousand years ago. And he lived there. And the story goes that his father or his uncle, I can't remember, had a shop full of gods. A god for each thing. One god for fertility, one god for luck, one god for crop, rain, god for everything. And he would sell those gods for everybody. And one time he went away and he said to Abraham, can you take care of the gods, the shop? I'm going away. I need you to take care of the shop. Yeah. So Abraham said yes, and he went to sleep. And in his sleep, he had an epiphany. And in the epiphany, he heard a voice. And that voice told him, because he said it's limiting, yeah? And his voice said to him, I'm the only God that created everything around you. I'm everything. I'm the trees, I'm the wind, I'm the sea, I'm inside of you, I'm inside of everyone. It's all me. We're all the same. And if you understand that, you know that you need not to harm any of me, because we're all the same. And Abraham thought, wow, why do I need all these gods? Why don't we have one God? And he said, you can't see me. I am what I am. You can't see me. I don't have an image. Because I'm everything, then I can't have an image. Because otherwise I won't be everything if I have an image. I am limited to this God and that God and that God and that God. And Abraham woke up and broke all the statues around him because he realized what just happened to him. And when the villagers came back and they wanted to kill him, and his uncle or father said,
why did they want to kill him? Because he broke all the things,
because
all the idols?
Because when you sell gods, you make money.
Yep.
But when you have a God that you can't sell, you don't make money. And Abraham brought a God that nobody needs to buy. It's everywhere, all the time, non-stop, available for you. You don't have to go to a specific God or a shop to buy a statue. It's available for you all the time. So they wanted to kill him, but his father or his uncle, can't remember, protected him, and he gave them enough money. He said, you go, because they're going to kill you.
And that's where he started his journey.
He started journey to a place because God told him, I will send you to a land. You just trust me. I'm going to send you to a land, honey and milk. You will go, milk and honey. You'll go to this land. That's the land that I promise you and your people. And he had a tent in the way to the land, and people will cross by this tent, and he will teach him. He will teach the word of God to all these people. And those who liked it stayed, and slowly, the tribe of the Jews, Israel, started to create it around that concept.
Wow.
And of course, he had the covenant of circumcision and all that. We won't get into that so much. But that's how it's basically all started. Then he went to the land of Israel, and he established the little tribe of the Jewish people as we know today.
So that's the establishment of
The monoistic God, yeah?
Judaism.
Yeah, so it's a one God that is everything and is everywhere.
Now, with Christianity, Christians believe that Jesus Christ is the reincarnation of God on earth.
It's a son of God,
the son
and
of
it's
God,
also a God, and it's also God. So they believe in a Trinity.
The Holy Trinity.
Correct. They believe that God, and that's when the Jews said, we don't think that, because the origin, the essence, the perfume, said, no, we're not going to change that. You want to change it, that's okay, but don't force us to change it. That's why Christianity hated us for so long, because we said, okay, that's fine. Same with Islam. That's what you believe, that's fine. That's not what we choose to believe.
You guys are sticking with your thing.
We stick to this. We're sticking to this, and that's okay. You do you, we do us. Let us do us. But they didn't want to let us do us, because when
Jesus was a Jewish.
Jesus was born,
He was Jew.
yeah, Jesus was born to Mary and I forgot his name, his father's name. I'll remember in a minute. He was Jewish, to a Jewish mother. He was a Jewish rabbi as well during the thing. The problem is, and again, I have to tell you something. I love Christianity. I love everything that Christianity preach. All the messages, all the beauty that comes from Christianity is absolutely divine, and it should spread throughout the planet, because there's so much beauty and good in that, about love and everything. It's beautiful. I love Christianity. I love Hinduism. I don't like Islam, but I like Hinduism.
I had a feeling.
I love those religions. I love all of them.
Yep.
All of them. If you come to my house, you will find every God in existence. Every God ever existed is there, is living there in my house. They're all welcome. They're all there. But I'm a Jew. And that's why I've got all the gods in my house, because I'm a Jew. Because I don't try and tell nobody what to do and how they want to do. I appreciate. I learn from everything. So Christianity, Jesus was a Jew. And the reason the Jews didn't accept the idea that Jesus was the Messiah like he claimed he was. So I don't even know if he claimed it. That's the story that came after. As I said, there was only a few witnesses who said that.
Yep.
I don't even know if he said that. I have no idea. Because it happened so long ago. You know, today, there's a crime that can happen 2 days from now, and And with everything that we know, we still can't solve it. It can take years to solve it. But 2,000 years ago, the Jews definitely killed Jesus. You know that.
Oh, that's right. They
Yeah.
said the Jews killed him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, now they know they didn't kill him. Now they know that they basically gave him to the Romans, and the Romans are the one who killed him. Yeah. But the point is this. I'm not saying the Jews are pure and they're great. They did a lot of wrong. Yeah. But I'm going to the essence of things.
Yep.
And it's this. In the Jewish belief, it said this, that when the Messiah will come to the world, it will unite the human race. There will be unification. There will be no more wars. Everything will be united. And everybody will be under the same God, under the same world. Did that happen when Jesus came?
Didn't.
So the Jews said, I'm sorry, it's not happening. So the sign's telling us no. So that's okay. If you want that, that's fine. You know, I have a joke that I say. People are going to hate me for that too. I said, the joke was this. The Christian, they wanted a God. So, you know, we gave you Jesus. So you got a religion. Then the Muslims wanted a religion. We gave you Muhammad. You got a religion. Just take it. That's fine. That's fine. Just leave our God alone. Leave him alone. Let us have our God. Well,
So your God, you can't put a face to it. It's everything. It's
No image.
everywhere all at once.
no image. No sound, no voice, but everything. Everything. It's everything. It's everywhere. It's now, right now. It's in this table. It's inside of you. It's between you and me. It's limitless. And that's what when he said it's very limiting, I was surprised because we were all told our God is limitless. It's in your gods. The God that we have is in all your gods. So we believe.
It's like the essence of divine creation. It's divine creation itself.
That's how you make perfume. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Mate, I've learned a lot about Israel and as well as the struggles of Jewish people. And I've also learned a lot about the Abrahamic religions.
Yeah. I'm glad I could help. And I think that's important because it's not about what I'm teaching is not about negating anything else. It's not about saying what I'm saying you are wrong, you are not right, and I'm right. It's not about that because I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is like live and let live. There's enough room for all of us. Israel is a tiny country. The Jewish nation is a very small country. We don't want to fight with you. We don't want to, you claim you're Palestinian, whatever you are, that's fine. We tried the two-state solution so many times. You can actually Google how many times we offered two-state solutions. But do you know what from the river to the sea means?
From the river to the sea, the Palestine will be free.
Do you know what river?
No.
Jordan. Do you know what sea?
Which one? The Red Sea?
The Mediterranean.
Oh, the
Do you
Mediterranean.
know what Israel is in between the river and the sea? So if Palestine will be free from the river to the sea,
It means that
where's
you
the Jews going? And the actual word is in Arabic is.
does that mean total eradication to Israel? Pretty much.
Yeah. It's what we call in modern language extermination. It's what we call in normal language. What's they blaming us of doing to the Palestinians right now? What's the word that they take?
Genocide?
Yeah. It's actual genocide to
Yeah.
remove. Now they're saying, when we say, where do you want us to go? You know, when the Jews are saying, okay, you want us out of Israel. When we say, where do you want us to go? You know what's the answer is? Poland, go back to Europe. Go back to where the Holocaust took place. But then I say, but I'm not from there. My mom is from Yemen. Where do I go to? I'm not from Europe. And 75% of the Israelis are from Arab countries. Do you want us to go back to those Arab countries? Do you see the logic behind it?
Instant death. Instant death.
But do you see the logic behind it? Do you understand the dilemma that we are facing here? And it's all because the lack of education, the lack of knowledge, the lack of knowing history. And because the human race is suffering from a very bad amnesia. We forget. And we need to be reminded. And shows like this help. So thank you.
It was a pleasure to have you on. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks, Bill.
Cheers, man. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a good night. See ya. Bye.